We now have the compensation for the Jalen Ramsey trade. Did you see it? Did you see what it is?
This is throwing me off. Now it gets weird. Now things get really weird.
This is an NBA trade, baby. Jalen Ramsey straight up for Minkah Fitzpatrick. I don't think there's any draft compensation at all whatsoever. It's just your guy for my guy. Pro Bowler for Pro Bowler. So I guess Ramsey, you talked about him playing in the slot. I still think he's going to play plenty in the slot, but like now he gets to play. I feel like the role that he played at times when he was in Los Angeles, where he was sort of this safety. He was a slot defender. He was an outside cornerback for you. But this frees things up for Ramsey to be absolutely worth the compensation that they're paying for him, because I think he's going to help mitigate that safety spot with them trading Minkah Fitzpatrick. So Minkah Fitzpatrick going back to Miami. Did he want to go back to Miami? I wonder if he actually wanted to go back to Miami there. Maybe he did. But Dalton, okay, your thoughts on the compensation with this being the trade here?
I mean, I'm trying to figure this out from both sides, because now do we not have questions now about the Steelers at safety, or is that just not going to matter? Because you've got I'm looking at it now. You've got Deshaun Elliott, who was there last year, and you're going to have, well, I guess they're going to start Juan Thornhill is what it's going to be. So they feel better about...
Which is fine, right? I think Juan Thornhill is a good player.
It's a good fit for a defense that runs a lot of single high, and he can sit back there and go get the football. So what it is they feel better about having Ramsey and Thornhill than they would about Minkah and kind of whatever, say Beanie Bishop or whatever they were playing in the slot. I kind of agree. I kind of get that now. It makes more sense when you think about having Thornhill back there. Maybe we'll question the safety unit during the season, but I think you're talking about now Elliott and Thornhill's not a terrible safety pair to have. And when you think about the role that Thornhill can play in this defense, now you obviously lose some depth back there, and maybe they move some other guys. You have Miles Killebrew back there. Maybe Bishop goes back and plays safety. But I think the dynamic holds in that Ramsey's going to play in the slot full time, and now you've just got Thorn. And it's interesting, too, because you talk about their draft capital and not having to give anything up. The way that this could work for the Steelers without giving up any draft picks, and Fitzpatrick only graded around his 66 last year, this could be a huge win for the Steelers. As far as the Dolphins go, I think even getting Minkah in there, it's odd that he goes back there. I still don't have a ton of faith in that secondary, and I'm not sure it gets better swapping out Ramsey for Fitzpatrick. I don't know where we go now with this Dolphins secondary, too, because now they're loaded at safety with a bunch of guys they signed in free agency plus Minkah, but they have that's the worst cornerback room in football, right? Right now, the Dolphins?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, so it doesn't help them in that sense. I think, okay, it's cool to have a million safeties.
Unless I'm forgetting somebody, it's not close. They would have Storm Duck, Cam Smith, Kader Kohu, Artie Burns, Jason Marshall Jr.
Yeah, that's the bottom right there. They have a bunch. You have Ashton Davis and Melifonwu and now Fitzpatrick at safety, but they have nothing at corner. So the Dolphins kind of and to me, here's the thing, Trev.
They spent the money at safety,
and right? They spent the money. And here's the problem.
They didn't break the bank for Davis or Melifonwu, but still, you spent your money at safety.
Do we know where the Dolphins are even at as an organization to get no draft comp for Jalen Ramsey? What is this even? What is it just? I don't know all the details either on Minkah's contract, but you're talking about a team that is very much teetering between competing and not this year. And they did not get a single draft pick for Jalen Ramsey. I don't think I'm a huge fan of this if I'm the Dolphins.
Minkah has one more year left on his deal. His cap hit is fine. It's like 15.5 this year, and then it's 17.6 next year. But he's 30 years old next year. So you're probably fine. Can you even get out of this? Let's see.
You could get out of it. You could get out of it next year if they wanted to. You could do.
I would assume you could do
a post June one and get out of it.
Yes, he has no guaranteed money left on his deal.
So you can. I guess
can totally get out of this contract.
Getting out of the Ramsey contract is big for them with their salary cap situation because there's heavy cap charges the next couple of years on Ramsey. But to get no draft compensation is wild to me for a team that we really are unsure of what they're going to look like.
Wait, what?
And I was just, this is something else dropping now too.
The Dolphins are trading tight end Jonnu Smith to the Steelers for a late round pick swap. What are the Dolphins doing?
I don't get it.
What?
You got a team who found a perfect fit with a tight end in Jonnu Smith, and they gave him away for nothing. I don't.
A late round pick swap sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's probably something like Jonnu and a 6 for a 5 or something like that.
So they're clear. So the point of this trade for the Miami Dolphins is instead of getting draft capital, they want to clear the books as much as possible.
That's what's happening here. Yeah, because they didn't. If they wanted to pay Jonnu Smith, they would have done it already. That's been the big controversy in Miami is that Smith wants not even necessarily a hefty raise, although he's got a 1-year extension for $12 million from the Steelers, but. They're clearing cap space. They're trying to get younger. They're clearing cap space. I would sit here and question what we start to think about Tyreek Hill now. Very soon.
That's immediately where my mind goes. Is are you blowing this whole thing up within the next year?
And if you blow this whole thing up within the next year, does that include at quarterback?
Well, right. So. Jonnu Smith was a free agent this upcoming season, so he got a 1-year extension from the Steelers, so he at least gets a 1-year extension there. Jalen Phillips is a free agent this coming off season, so you have to think about what to do with him given the injuries that he has gone through.
I think with the way Chop played last year,
you're probably moving on.
Yeah, you move on from that, and you still have Bradley Chubb signed. You're trying to rebuild that D line with young guys, Kenneth Grant, and those guys. I just to get nothing more than a pick swap for Smith and Ramsey, and obviously you get Minka back. This is about clearing the books long term.
This is going to be Tyreek's last year. Tyreek's not going to be on this team next year.
I wonder if he makes it to the season in Miami. If he gets,
I don't think he'll retire.
Oh no, I meant as a trade in the next month and a half. Either that or by week 8 or whatever the trade deadline is. I got to think Tyreek Hill's going to try to find a way. He's going to find a way to get to a contender because this is clearly not it. If you're selling off Jalen Ramsey for cap space and you're getting rid of Jonnu Smith, who was their third best receiver last year, I don't know where this is going in Miami now. I think that's really what it is these moves are just meant to clear the books and start clearing cap space for beyond 2026 even.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess it was just we normally think of teams loading up with draft picks when they're rebuilding, but I guess it is just Miami's. Because what's Tua's contract? I think that's the important part here.
Let's see, I'm going to pull it up now here. Because even with whatever they had done this offseason, they were still, before these trades, sitting with the 5th lowest cap space in the league.
So Tua has a $39 million cap hit this year. He's uncuttable. Well, I guess nothing is anymore after the Russell Wilson deal. But he's basically uncuttable. Next season, it jumps from $39 million on the cap to $56.4 on the cap. And he's cuttable, but you don't save a ton of money.
He's
in 2027, he is $53 million on the cap, and in 2028, he's $65 million on the cap. There's no guaranteed money on either of those deals or on either of those years. He then has 2 void years after that. So this right now, I think the move to get out of the Jalen Ramsey contract and to move on from Jonnu Smith showcases that you're not paying the player that was very productive for you, and you're getting out of it. You are getting out of the Jalen Ramsey contract for a player whose contract is a lot more flexible and is up in 2026. Tyreek Hill is also a free agent in 2026, so whether he's traded or not, he is off the book. So Minka Fitzpatrick and Tyreek Hill No, Minka's the year after. So, anyways,
Yeah, but you could get out of Minka's contract after 25.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
So this is basically coming down to 1 year from now, next offseason, you could have Tyreek Hill's contract, Jalen Ramsey's contract, obviously, Jonnu Smith not re-signing him, Jalen Phillips not re-signing him, Minka Fitzpatrick deal out, and Tua's deal out. You can entirely reshape your salary cap and your roster in the next calendar year with what Miami is doing here to just go full tank.
Yeah.
And be one of the worst teams in the NFL this year, but more realistically next year. And I'm always hesitant to do this, but Dalton, you're a college guy. You know what the 2027 NFL draft class could be. Now, they didn't load up on draft picks, so there's sort of that equation here, but they certainly loaded up to be bad to capitalize on whatever that 2027 class is. So that's sort of my galaxy brain right in the moment thoughts here.
I'm with you. I think the bigger question is it 2026 they're building for? Is it 2027? Because really, cutting Tua in 2026 doesn't help them a whole lot. It helps them in future years beyond that. Because I think it's a very low likelihood, extremely low likelihood that he's their quarterback beyond 2026. And you mentioned it's possible that 2025 could be the last year, especially with all the injury woes. But no, this Dolphins team looks like they're tearing it down right now. And if I was making a prediction right now, I don't know if it'll be preseason or by the trade deadline. I think we see Tyreek Hill traded though by the deadline. What is it, week 8 or week 9? I think we're gonna see him traded by the time November comes around.
Yeah, and I do wonder if the draft pick compensation, the pick swap here was a 2027 7th rounder to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then the Dolphins do in fact get a 5th rounder in 2027 back. So they jump up 2 rounds in 2027. If they are going to trade Jalen Phillips or Tyreek Hill, who I think are their main trade pieces now, if they're going to trade them, I would be pushing to get 2027 draft capital instead of 2026.
Oh, you're going right with it. You're just going to go right to load up. You trying to get DJ Lagway down the street in Miami? Is that what you're trying to do, or what are we doing here?
You're trying to get some quarterback, right? Especially if you believe that Arch Manning is not going to be in the 2025 class or 2026 class. Because if you and I can have that conversation. I think that's for a different podcast episode because it's a lot deeper. But if you think that Arch is not going to be in 2026, who are the quarterbacks that are going to be in 2026? Or 2027, excuse me. Arch Manning, DJ Lagway, Dylan Raiola. Like, who you would know better than me of even some of these other guys that are younger that could be in that class. But like, those are 3 quarterbacks who could be franchise caliber quarterbacks. Yeah. And you're giving yourself the ability to pick one of those 3 players in 2027 if you're the Dolphins. Now, do teams operate like that? Sometimes I feel like they do, and sometimes I have to sort of like control myself and be like, okay, Trev, this isn't Madden. Like you can't just be thinking about 2020. Like it's not like the
idea. The idea is though, whether it's 26 or 27, I don't think they're aiming for 27. What they're aiming for is flexibility. Say this year. Let's even say this year coming. If they like somebody like Sam Levitt or Garrett Nussmeier or whoever else pops up in 26, and they have at least some, they have to maybe eat Tua's contract or let him ride out one more year as a bridge guy. Then so be it, right? I think you're talking about a team now that's given themselves the flexibility to go, we can contend when we feel the time is right, as opposed to their cap situation before these trades and going, hey, we're stuck until we're not. They got out ahead of it, which in that sense you can give them credit for, and being flexible. If they want to do it in 26, cool. Then go ahead and compete or find a new quarterback or reset however you want to do it. If they want to tank it out for one more year and go to 2027, that's the one thing these trades give them, is the flexibility to do it. I would just, again, expect that Tyreek Hill is going to get traded soon or possibly during the season to further open that flexibility. This Dolphins team has made very clear the direction that they're going in.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's a better way to look at it, is just having total flexibility, I think, over 2026 and 2027, whichever route sort of behooves you more. And right now, they're very much clearing the books. And Charles in the chat saying, like, moving on from expensive aging veterans doesn't mean that you're tanking. Why would you be hyperbolic here? And I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. And you're right. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily tanking, but you moving on from Jalen Ramsey and picking up Minka Fitzpatrick means that you probably have the worst cornerback room in the NFL. You moving on from Jonnu Smith for nothing more than a 2-round pick swap means that you're getting rid of an offensive piece that was basically your most productive offensive piece. All right, so one of your more efficient is probably a better way to say it. Offensive pieces last year with a receiving grade above 80 with Jonnu Smith. So, like, yeah, you still have Tyreek Hill. You still have Jalen Waddle. You have Malik Washington, which is funny. Like, Malik Washington was actually my breakout candidate that I was going to shout out for the Miami Dolphins anyways, and now I think that that's more the case. But they are not exactly, especially for a quarterback like Tua, who we've often talked about, is like, hey, you got to have a good group around Tua. Like, you've got to have a good offensive line. You got to have good weapons. And if you do that, he's got the talent to be able to facilitate for you and make some big plays, especially in Mike McDaniel's offense. You're hindering his ability to do that at this point. So that's why it's like, okay, tanking, maybe not the word tanking, but you're not really, you in a make or break, win or everyone gets fired season, you are, like, the Miami Dolphins are absolutely worse today than they were yesterday for competing for the 2025 NFL season. And you already had the general manager, all the coaches, and the current regime in which the direction it is pointed. All of that is on the hot seat. So again, you're right. Tanking, maybe not the word. Flexibility, the word, the way that Dalton said it, I totally agree with. That's probably the way that they're doing it. But you can't look at this and think, oh, the Dolphins are doing this in a way where it makes their team better. I think that it's them looking at their current situation and not loving it and just trying to be as flexible for whatever a rebuild is as possible.